Hello, welcome back. Inequalities, lesson number 1. Numbers and their reciprocals. An example is given here. If a greater than b greater than 0, find the inequalities between the following pairs of numbers. First one, 1 over a and 1 over b. Second one, pa and pb, where p is a positive constant. Third one, qa and qb, where q is a negative constant. Now let's see the first part where we need to show an inequality between 1a and 1 over a and 1 over b. Since it's given a is greater than b greater than 0, then a minus b is greater than 0. When you take a minus b, it will be 0. This will be greater than 0. And since a greater than 0 and b greater than 0, if you multiply a and b, it should be greater than 0. Also, from the basic properties, we know that if x greater than 0, then 1 over x should be greater than 0. Therefore, 1 over ab should be greater than 0. We got here ab is greater than 0 by multiplying the left hand sides. A times b greater than 0. And also using this property, if x is greater than 0, then 1 over x is also greater than 0. Then we can conclude that 1 over ab should be greater than 0. Now let's see this expression 1 over b minus 1 over a. Take the common factor be a, and we have cross multiplication 1 times a minus 1 times b is equal to a minus b over a times 1 over ab. Just divide into two factors, this one, and therefore this one is the first factor, a minus b, which is greater than 0. This is the second factor, 1 over ab, which is greater than 0. Therefore, we can conclude when you multiply these two also greater than 0. Therefore, 1 over b minus 1 over a should be greater than 0. Then what we can do is we take this minus 1 over a to the right hand side to conclude with the answer that 1 over b is greater than 1 over a. That's the first inequality between these two numbers. And the second one is given here. You have to find out an inequality between PA and PB where P is a positive constant. And let's take PA minus PB, which is equal to P times A minus B. We take P out, common factor A minus B. Now what we do is, since P is a positive constant, P is greater than 0. Also, we found out that from the previous section, A minus B is greater than 0. Now we have two factors, p which is greater than 0 and a minus b which is greater than 0. So what we can conclude here is that p times a minus b is greater than 0. P is greater than 0, a minus b is greater than 0. Therefore, if you multiply p times a minus b, which is also greater than 0. Now what we do is we expand this one, p times a minus p times b greater than 0, and take this pb to the right hand side. Negative pb to the right hand side will become positive pb. Therefore, we can conclude that pa is greater than pb. That is the inequality between pa and pb when p is a positive constant. Now let's proceed to the third part of the question where qa and qb. Q is a negative constant. So again we proceed the same way. Let's take QB minus QA. In this case, we take QB minus QA and take negative Q out. And when you take negative Q out, we'll have a positive instead of negative QA. So when you take negative Q, A will become positive here, and this B will become negative here. So negative times negative will become positive. When you multiply QB, negative Q times negative B become QB. Now let's see what we can do here. Basically, What is given here is q is a negative constant, therefore q is less than 0, and according to the first principles we can write negative q greater than 0. If you have a number here q which is less than 0, so if you negate this one, this will turn other way, so that means negative q greater than 0. That's from first principles. Also we know that a minus b greater than 0 from the previous previous sections. So now we have two numbers, a minus b greater than 0, negative q greater than 0. Negative q times a minus b both are greater than 0. Therefore, negative q times a minus b is greater than 0. Then we can expand this one, negative q times a, negative qa plus negative q times negative b, positive qa greater than 0. Now we take negative qa to the right hand side to conclude with qb is greater than qa, which is the answer. Basically, this is the inequality between qa and qb when q is a negative constant. End of the lesson. Thank you.